Parkinson's disease, recovery routines for daily life. When the body stiffens. Hello, dear listeners. The story I want to share with you today is not simply a medical explanation of a single disease. This is a deep reflection on how humans redefine the meaning of existence when facing the absolute realities of their body, mind, and time. Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disorder first described by British physician James Parkinson in 1817, occurring when neurons that produce dopamine in the brain's substantia nigra progressively deteriorate. Neurologically speaking, this goes beyond simple movement disorders to pose fundamental questions about the basic conditions of human existence: time, space, relationships with others, and self-identity. But if we approach this philosophically, it becomes an existential challenge about how humans create and maintain meaning when faced with their physical limitations and the irreversibility of time. Parkinson's disease vividly demonstrates the classical problem raised by Descartes' mind-body dualism, the gap between mind and matter, between will and execution. Here, let me add a somewhat cynical perspective. Modern society shows remarkable contradictions in how it deals with such diseases. On one hand, it emphasizes positive thinking and willpower to overcome, demanding endless hope from patients. But on the other hand, it increasingly pushes them to the margins of a society that values productivity and efficiency above all. Social media turns illness diaries into content, and the self-help industry sells the illusion that diseases can be overcome. But true wisdom lies beyond both superficial optimism and despairing resignation. It is the ability to face reality as it is while discovering new possibilities within it. Living with Parkinson's disease is not simply fighting the disease, but a process of deeply understanding and accepting the conditions of human existence while seeking creative adaptation within them. The journey we will explore together is not a simple treatment guidebook. This is a comprehensive exploration of how a human being can maintain and develop the meaning of existence and quality of life, even as their body changes. Chapter 1: The Science of Dopamine and the Paradox of Modern Medicine. What is movement? This seemingly simple question is actually a complex intersection where neuroscience, philosophy, and ontology meet. To understand Parkinson's disease, we must first know how our brain plans and executes movement, and what role the neurotransmitter dopamine plays in this process. Dopamine was discovered in 1958 by Swedish scientist Arvid Carlsson. Interestingly, he received the 2000 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for this discovery, which symbolically shows the importance of dopamine in Parkinson's disease research. Unlike being simply called the happiness hormone, dopamine is actually a complex neuromodulator involved in motor control, motivation, learning, and reward prediction. Dopamine produced in the pathway from the brain's substantia nigra to the striatum plays a key role in allowing us to walk, move our hands, and maintain balance naturally without conscious thought. Like an orchestra conductor, dopamine coordinates numerous neural circuits to work harmoniously. In Parkinson's disease, these dopamine-producing neurons progressively die, causing the balance of the entire motor system to collapse. George Kotsias's discovery of levodopa's therapeutic effect on Parkinson's disease in 1967 was one of the most dramatic moments in neurological history. Patients who could only lie in bed were able to get up and walk within hours of drug administration. But behind this miraculous recovery lay complex realities. Over time, side effects like on-off phenomena and dyskinesia appeared. The arsenal of modern Parkinson's treatment is quite diverse. There are drugs like dopamine agonists, MAOB inhibitors, and CoMT inhibitors, and for advanced cases, advanced treatments like deep brain stimulation, DBS, or duodopa pumps. DBS is particularly interesting. It's a method of inserting electrodes into specific brain areas to provide electrical stimulation, like installing a pacemaker in the brain. Here, let me add a cynical perspective. Modern medicine's approach to Parkinson's disease is fundamentally based on a repair shop model. It's an approach that tries to find and fix or replace broken parts, the dopamine system. While this reductionist thinking is certainly helpful, it has limitations in understanding humans as complex biological, psychological, social beings. What's more problematic is the commercialization of modern healthcare systems. Pharmaceutical companies tend to view Parkinson's patients as lifetime customers. While the manufacturing cost of one levodopa pill is only a few cents, patients must pay hundreds of thousands of won over their lifetime. Newer drugs can cost millions of won per month for treatment. So does this mean modern medicine is completely meaningless? Of course not. Appropriate drug treatment certainly improves patients' quality of life. The problem is that medical treatment alone is not sufficient. Recent studies show that non-pharmacological factors like exercise, nutrition, stress management, and social support have significant effects on disease progression. Particularly, regular aerobic exercise is known to increase the secretion of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, showing neuroprotective effects. The true value of modern medicine is not in providing absolute answers to patients, but in providing tools and information to make better choices. Doctors should serve as partners who work with patients to explore the best treatment path, rather than omnipotent healers. Chapter 2. Neurology of Movement and Language. Rehabilitation of Body and Speech. Movement is life. This seemingly simple proposition has special meaning in relation to Parkinson's disease. Neuroscience research is revealing the amazing fact that exercise goes beyond simply strengthening muscles to actually change the structure and function of the brain. To understand how exercise affects the brain, we must first understand the concept of neuroplasticity. Until the early 20th century, scientists believed that the adult brain did not change. However, research accumulated since the 1990s has shown that the brain can create new connections, strengthen existing ones, and even generate new neurons throughout life. There are several reasons why exercise is particularly important for Parkinson's patients. First, exercise increases the secretion of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. BDNF is a protein that helps neuron survival and growth, sometimes called brain fertilizer. Second, exercise helps activate alternative neural circuits. It can help more actively utilize the frontal lobe's conscious motor planning system to compensate for the automatic motor control system damaged by Parkinson's disease. So what exercises are most effective? According to research, exercises requiring large amplitude movements are particularly helpful. Tai Chi, tango, and boxing are representative examples. What these exercises have in common is that they require complex patterns of movement, rather than simple repetitive actions. In the case of Tai Chi, research shows that slow, flexible movements improve balance and reduce fall risk. A 2012 study published in the New England Journal of Medicine showed that Parkinson's patients who practiced Tai Chi showed greater improvements in balance and gait than groups who did resistance training or stretching. Tango is another interesting example. The characteristics of Argentine tango, sudden direction changes, walking backward, rhythmic movements, comprehensively stimulate motor functions damaged by Parkinson's disease. Additionally, breathing with a partner and moving to music provides social interaction and emotional enjoyment. Language function also presents important issues. About 90% of Parkinson's patients experience speech disorders. Medically called Parkinsonian dysarthria, this phenomenon goes beyond simply unclear pronunciation to affect overall communication ability. Voice becomes softer, speech speed becomes faster or irregular, and intonation becomes monotonous. To understand the neurological causes of these changes, we need to know the complex process of language production. Speaking is a highly sophisticated process involving cooperation between multiple brain areas. Broca's area plans language, the motor cortex coordinates muscle movements, and the cerebellum and basal ganglia handle fine adjustments. But interestingly, Parkinson's patients' language abilities vary dramatically depending on the situation. While their voice may become barely audible in daily conversation, they can produce near normal voice when suddenly surprised or angry. This suggests that there are multiple language processing pathways in the brain, and alternative pathways can be activated when emotion or will is involved. One of the key components of speech therapy is the LSVTLOUD program. This is a method that trains patients to consciously speak loudly. Initially, patients feel their voice is too loud, but it's actually close to normal volume. This shows that Parkinson's disease also changes self-perception abilities. Here, let me add a cynical perspective. Modern society overemphasizes efficient communication. Fast, clear information transmission becomes the top priority, making slow, unclear speech easily dismissed as worthless. Parkinson's patients may become increasingly reluctant to speak due to this social pressure, which can lead to faster deterioration of language function. However, the true value of language is not only in the efficiency of information transmission. Speaking is humanity's way of social existence and a means of confirming and maintaining self-identity. Exercise and language may not cure Parkinson's disease, but they present new ways of living with it. Chapter 3: Physiology of Sleep, Emotions, and Relationships. What is sleep? While it appears to be a state of suspended activity on the surface, it's actually one of the times when the brain operates most dynamically. Understanding the relationship between Parkinson's disease and sleep is not simply about finding ways to sleep well, but about deeply understanding human biological rhythms and neurological recovery mechanisms. About 90% of Parkinson's patients experience sleep disorders. This is not simply due to stress from the disease, but because brain areas that control sleep are directly damaged. The locus coeruleus, raphe nuclei, and hypothalamus in the brainstem are all places where pathological changes of Parkinson's disease appear. Several important recovery processes occur during sleep. Most notable is the activation of the glymphatic system. This is a system that removes waste products from the brain, becoming particularly active during sleep. The accumulation of alpha-synuclein protein, a characteristic pathology of Parkinson's disease, may also be related to the dysfunction of this system. REM sleep behavior disorder is drawing attention as one of the early signs of Parkinson's disease. Normally, muscles are paralyzed during REM sleep to prevent acting out dreams, but when this mechanism is damaged, patients actually act out their dream content. This can appear years to decades before Parkinson's diagnosis, making it an important indicator for early diagnosis. Approaches to improving sleep quality must be multifaceted. Basic principles of sleep hygiene must be followed: going to bed and waking up at regular times, keeping the bedroom dark and cool, avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bedtime. Light therapy is also particularly important. Exposure to bright light in the morning helps compensate for melatonin secretion disorders caused by Parkinson's disease. Emotional management is also closely related to sleep. About 50% of Parkinson's patients experience depression, which is not simply a psychological reaction to the disease, but is also related to damage to serotonin and norepinephrine systems. Depression and anxiety worsen sleep quality, and poor sleep makes emotional regulation more difficult, creating a vicious cycle. Cognitive behavioral therapy has proven effective for Parkinson's patients as well. This is a psychotherapy technique that corrects wrong beliefs and behavioral patterns about sleep. Meditation and relaxation techniques also help. Progressive muscle relaxation and mindfulness meditation particularly reduce physical tension and bring mental stability. Humans are essentially social animals. According to social neuroscience research, social support goes beyond simply providing psychological comfort to actually change brain structure and function. It promotes the secretion of neurotransmitters like oxytocin and serotonin, while lowering levels of the stress hormone cortisol. A Parkinson's diagnosis changes the lives of not only patients, but entire families. Spouses suddenly become caregivers, children must accept their parents' changes, and relationships with friends must be redefined. Many relationships are tested during this process of change. Role changes within families are particularly complex issues. As existing power balances are disrupted and new dynamics form, people who were family breadwinners may suffer self-esteem damage as they become increasingly dependent, while family members providing care may struggle between burden and guilt. Here, let me add a cynical perspective. Relationships in modern society are becoming increasingly superficial. Social media creates hundreds of friends, but deep relationships where one can share true difficulties are decreasing. When facing chronic diseases like Parkinson's, these shallow relationships can actually become burdens. True relationships begin with accepting and supporting each other's imperfections rather than perfection. Parkinson's disease can also open possibilities for such genuine relationships. It allows experiencing more essential human connections beyond superficial social roles. Chapter 4: Sociology of Prejudice and Philosophy of Existence. Society's view of disease sometimes brings greater suffering than the disease itself. Social prejudice and stigma against neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's disease are another reality that patients and families must face. According to sociologist Irving Goffman's definition in his 1963 book, Stigma is a social process that classifies and excludes individuals with certain attributes from normal to abnormal. Here, let me add a cynical perspective. Modern society espouses diversity and inclusion, but actually prioritizes productivity and efficiency above all. Disability and disease are still seen as things to be overcome or pitied, and true social acceptance is not achieved. Media produces inspiration porn, portraying people with disabilities only as objects of sympathy or heroes of heroic narratives. Workplace discrimination is one of the most practical problems. The rate of people who quit their jobs after receiving a Parkinson's diagnosis is quite high. This is not simply because of symptoms, but due to complex factors, including colleagues' gazes, limited promotion opportunities, and difficulties in work adjustments. While laws like the Disability Discrimination Act provide legal protection, subtle discrimination remains widespread. Gazes in public transportation or public places are also burdensome factors. Tremors or unsteady gait provoke curiosity or avoidance from surrounding people. Young Parkinson's patients, in particular, face greater social difficulties as they receive gazes of looking older than their age. The power of language should not be underestimated either. The expression Parkinson's patient itself has the problem of defining individuals by their disease. The expression person with Parkinson's disease might be more appropriate. While it seems like a small linguistic difference, this reflects a difference in perspective that sees the person as human rather than as a disease. But moving one step beyond discussing prejudice and stigma, we face more fundamental questions. Who am I? When facing neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, this question takes on more urgent and complex meaning. In the reality of a changing body, how can the continuity of the self be maintained? René Descartes, called the father of Western philosophy, said, "I think, therefore I am." This became the starting point of dualistic thinking that separates mind and matter, soul and body. But modern neuroscience shows how artificial this dichotomous thinking is. Our consciousness, emotions, and memories all operate on the material foundation of the brain. French philosopher Henri Bergson understood identity not as a fixed substance, but as a continuous process. According to him, we are changing every moment, and identity is some continuity maintained within these changes. From this perspective, changes due to Parkinson's disease can be not the destruction of identity, but a new form of duration. Existentialist philosophers offer different perspectives on these problems. Jean-Paul Sartre said, "Existence precedes essence." That is, we are not born with predetermined essence, but define ourselves as we live. From this perspective, Parkinson's disease can become an opportunity for new self-definition. In Eastern philosophy, we can find another perspective. Buddhism's concept of impermanence emphasizes that everything changes. Fixed self is an illusion, and true wisdom comes from accepting this impermanence. From this perspective, changes due to Parkinson's disease can become an opportunity for enlightenment. The phenomenological perspective is also important. Maurice Merleau-Ponty emphasized that we experience the world not through abstract mind, but through concrete body. The body is not simply matter, but the way itself of meeting the world. When the body changes due to Parkinson's disease, it means the way of meeting the world changes, opening possibilities for new experiences and insights. The tension between the changing body and the unchanging self is an existential task not easily resolved. But this tension itself is the condition of human existence, and creating meaning and value within it may be the very essence of life. Chapter 5: Dialectics of Hope and Reconstruction of Daily Life. Hope and despair. These two emotions are a complex emotional spectrum experienced by all people living with Parkinson's disease. But these two are not simply opposing each other. They are in a dialectical relationship that defines and complements each other. True wisdom lies in finding balance between these two. What is hope? Psychologist Charles Snyder defined hope as the sum of willpower and way power to achieve goals. That is, hope is not simple optimism or wishful thinking, but a cognitive emotional process that includes specific goals and realistic means to achieve them. At the moment of receiving a Parkinson's diagnosis, many people fall into despair. Thoughts flood in. The label of incurable disease, the prognosis that it will gradually get worse, the idea that normal life is over. This despair is a natural reaction and should not be denied or avoided. Despair also has its own function. Despair makes us accurately recognize the weight of reality and reconsider existing ways of life. Here, let me add a cynical perspective. Modern society overly forces positive thinking. Toxic positivity like think positively and everything will be solved can actually harm patients. It can suppress natural sadness or fear and interfere with realistic responses. What's needed is realistic hope. This is an attitude of acknowledging current limitations while finding room for possible improvement and adaptation. Elements of realistic hope include accurate information, step-by-step goal setting, finding meaning, focusing on controllable areas, building support systems, and the ability to focus on the present moment. According to research, people with higher hope levels actually show better treatment outcomes. This is not simply a psychological effect, but because hope brings physiological changes, such as immune system strengthening, stress hormone reduction, and improved treatment compliance. Hope itself has therapeutic effects. But maintaining hope is not easy. Due to the nature of Parkinson's disease, there are fluctuations in symptoms, with good days and bad days repeating. Things that worked well yesterday can become difficult today, and this unpredictability puts hope to the test. What's needed at such times is diversification of hope. Instead of depending only on one big hope, it's about simultaneously holding various levels of big and small hopes. After discussing theory and philosophy, we must eventually return to daily life. Living with Parkinson's disease is implemented through small daily choices and habits. Reconstructing daily life to fit new physical conditions is a creative act beyond simple adaptation. Let's start with redesigning morning routines. Many Parkinson's patients find it difficult to move in the morning due to body stiffness. This requires allowing sufficient time and slowly awakening the body. Light stretching before getting out of bed, relaxing muscles with a warm shower, and waiting for medication effects to appear after taking drugs can become new morning rituals. Meal management is also an important area. It's necessary to control protein intake timing that interferes with levodopa absorption, consume sufficient fiber to prevent constipation, and provide adequate hydration to prevent dehydration. But this shouldn't deprive life of its pleasures. Meals with family and the joy of tasting favorite foods remain important values. Maintaining social activities, utilizing technology, improving home environment, and rediscovering hobbies and leisure activities are all elements of daily reconstruction. What's important is maintaining flexibility. Since Parkinson's disease is unpredictable, a flexible approach that can be adjusted according to situations is needed rather than fixed plans. Here, let me add a cynical perspective. Modern society is obsessed with productivity optimization. There's pressure to handle everything efficiently, save time, and achieve more. But living with Parkinson's disease makes one step back from this speed competition. And this can actually lead to a deeper and more meaningful life. Living at a new rhythm doesn't mean completely giving up one's previous life. Rather, it's a creative process of maintaining and developing one's own life, even under changed conditions. Chapter 6. Traditional healing methods and wisdom. Finally, I would like to discuss traditional treatment methods that can be considered alongside modern medicine. Traditional Korean manual therapy, Hwalbyeop, is one of the manual therapy methods in Korean traditional medicine, a treatment that stimulates acupoints and meridians to improve QA and blood circulation and activate the body's natural healing power. The basic principle of traditional manual therapy is to view the human body as one organism and approach even local problems from the perspective of whole body balance. Unlike Western medicine that understands Parkinson's disease as limited to brain dopamine deficiency, traditional manual therapy understands it as a disorder of overall QI and blood circulation, and imbalance of the 5 organs and 6 bowels. This is an approach that seeks to restore the body's natural healing power rather than simply suppressing symptoms. In traditional Korean medicine, Parkinson's disease is mainly classified in the categories of liver wind stirring internally, or kidney essence deficiency. It's viewed that excessive rising of liver qi causes trembling like wind stirring internally, or that insufficient kidney essence leads to inadequate brain marrow, resulting in nervous system dysfunction. From this perspective, traditional manual therapy seeks to calm liver qi and supplement kidney essence to restore overall balance. Specifically, traditional manual therapy can help improve Parkinson's symptoms in the following ways. Muscle rigidity relief. The special manual techniques of traditional therapy gently relax stiffened muscles and ligaments. Particularly, rigidity in the neck, shoulders, and back areas is a common problem for Parkinson's patients, and considerable relief can be experienced through the precise touch of skilled traditional therapy specialists. This is a systematic approach considering meridian flow, different from simple massage. Circulation improvement. Traditional therapy promotes blood and lymph circulation, improving blood flow to the brain. Particularly, blood flow to the brain can be limited due to neck rigidity, and improving this through traditional therapy can optimize the function of remaining brain cells and show neuroprotective effects. Also, as whole body qi and blood circulation improves, autonomic nervous system function stabilizes. Autonomic nerve regulation. autonomic symptoms experienced by Parkinson's patients, such as sleep disorders, digestive problems, blood pressure fluctuations, and body temperature regulation disorders, can be controlled to some extent through traditional therapy. Traditional therapy stabilizes overall autonomic nervous system function by restoring the balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves. Mental stability. Endorphins and serotonin secreted during traditional therapy treatment help reduce depression and anxiety, contributing to overall mental health improvement. The psychological stability brought by human touch with the therapist itself is also a therapeutic effect that cannot be ignored. Sleep quality improvement, muscle relaxation, and circulation improvement through traditional therapy improve sleep quality. This can be particularly helpful for patients suffering from REM sleep behavior disorder or insomnia. But there's an important point that must be emphasized here. Traditional manual therapy is not a treatment that anyone can perform. To see real effects, you should only receive treatment from top-level specialists who have accumulated at least 20 years of deep training and clinical experience. The core of traditional therapy is accurately grasping the flow of feeling and QI, which is an advanced technique that can only be acquired through long training. True traditional therapy specialists can intuitively grasp where problems exist and how to approach them the moment they touch a patient's body. This ability cannot be acquired simply by learning techniques and can only be gained through decades of practice and clinical experience. If received from inexperienced practitioners, symptoms may actually worsen or side effects may occur. Wrong touch can further block QI and blood flow or further disrupt balance, particularly in sensitive nervous system conditions like Parkinson's disease. A more careful approach is needed. Therefore, if you're considering traditional therapy treatment, please remember the following precautions. First, thoroughly verify the specialist's experience. You must confirm whether they have at least 20 years of clinical experience and verified treatment results. It's also important whether they practice authentic traditional therapy transmitted from multiple masters. Second, carefully examine other patients' reviews and treatment cases. It's particularly important to confirm whether they have experience treating Parkinson's disease or similar nervous system disorder patients. Third, we recommend combining with modern medical treatment. Traditional therapy should be used as a complement to, not a replacement for, modern medicine. Please don't stop medication treatment, but use it in combination to seek synergistic effects. Fourth, take a gradual approach. Rather than having excessive expectations from the beginning, please receive treatment while slowly observing your body's reactions. Generally, effects can be judged through consistent treatment over 3 to 6 months. Another advantage of traditional therapy is that there are almost no side effects. Unlike chemical drugs, it's a way of helping the body's natural healing process. So if received from proper specialists, it's a very safe treatment method. Also, customized treatment according to individual constitution and condition is a major advantage. Here, let me add a cynical perspective. In modern society, there are many attempts to commercially exploit traditional medicine. There are cases of issuing certificates through short educational courses or advertising exaggerated effects. There are places that call themselves traditional therapy specialists, but actually only provide simple massage or acupressure. It's important to avoid such places and find true specialists. Traditional therapy cannot cure Parkinson's disease, but if received from appropriate specialists, it can significantly help with symptom relief and quality of life improvement. Above all, the healing process through human touch itself will be a precious experience that gives patients comfort and hope. As a holistic approach, where body and mind heal together, traditional therapy provides the dimension of human care that modern medicine tends to miss. Conclusion: discovery of new movement. We have travelled a long journey together. Through the special condition of Parkinson's disease, we have explored universal themes of human existence, body and mind, time and change, relationships and meaning, hope and despair. Now it's time to weave all these stories together and conclude. Parkinson's disease is certainly a challenge. It takes away many things we took for granted. Free movement, clear speech, confidence in a predictable future, etc. But at the same time, it also gifts us new things. The preciousness of the present moment, gratitude for small things, the meaning of true relationships, and deep insights into the essence of human existence. The best results can be achieved when modern medicine and traditional medicine, scientific treatment and humanistic reflection, individual effort and social support come together harmoniously. Most importantly, what matters is a shift in perspective, not viewing Parkinson's disease simply as illness or disability, but accepting it as a new chapter in life. Scientific research continues to advance, and social awareness is improving. But rather than relying only on future possibilities, it's important to focus on what can be done now. Small daily practices, regular exercise, balanced diet, sufficient sleep, stress management, maintaining social relationships, participating in meaningful activities, determine quality of life. And above all, remember that you are not alone. There are many companions walking the same path, and there are specialists, family and friends, ready to support and help you. Sometimes asking for help is also courage and wisdom. Life with Parkinson's disease is like a marathon. You can't run at the fast pace of a sprint, but you can steadily move forward at your own pace. Sometimes walking, sometimes running, sometimes resting, but ultimately reaching your own finish line. True movement doesn't mean only bodily movement. There's also movement of the heart, movement of relationships, movement of meaning. While bodily movement may be limited due to Parkinson's disease, movements in other dimensions can actually become richer. I would like to conclude with the words from 1 Corinthians 16:13-14. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. I hope these words will be strength and comfort to all who live with Parkinson's disease. May you have the wisdom to be awake but not impatient. Stand firm but not stubborn. Be strong but considerate of others, and do all things in love. I express deep gratitude to all who have joined this long journey. Your courage and wisdom are making this world a warmer and more meaningful place. If you want more health information and life wisdom, please subscribe to our channel and share your precious stories in the comments. We are all teachers and companions to each other. I sincerely hope you have healthy and peaceful days.